What's up? How's this all going? Can you hear me alright? Let me know in the chat. I'll try and read it. Welcome to my first live stream, guys. This is something I didn't think I'd ever get to do based on the internet. But yeah, today I'm just gonna do some new cable management, switch this over on the power supply, and I've got some new Dominator Platinum RAM to install because it's still running Vengeance. So this is my photo rig. This is what I use to shoot a lot of the videos now, and will be moving forward. Excellent. Good to know the audio is doing well. So, cables. This is the Pro PSU cable kit, and I hopefully have the right one for the power supply in this, and it'll be interesting to undo all of the work that's already in this computer. So, I guess I'll just get started on that. So, wrong platform. Yeah, YC. Well, you know, not all of us have the Twitch audience you do, mate. But maybe eventually I'll jump platforms and bounce around between them. But for this first one, I figured I'd hang around on YouTube for this one, at least. Now, you guys need to let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet or whatever, or if I'm just boring. So, it's going to be interesting to see what we actually need to use out of this and what we don't. So I know for a fact we're going to use the 24 pin, the 8. I should have planned this out, but where's the fun in that, hey? Bit of live messing up of computers is always good fun. I could always dual cast. I don't know if my internet will support that. I think it's barely supporting this. Speaking of which, how's the quality? Do I look alright? Am I too jittery, too stuttery? Audio coming through alright? Okay, that second side panel off. I'll show you what I'm working with on this other side, because it is fairly well managed already. So normally the ugly side of the case isn't much to look at, but it's actually pretty nice on this one. So you can see I got my 4TB black, WD black, the Commander Pro up here, the LED fan controller, and all of the cable management for that's going to have to stay. So I'm going to have to work around that, and hopefully I can pull out all the old cable management for the power supply without too much hassle. But yeah, fingers crossed. I haven't actually pulled this case apart before. This one was sent to me pre-built by my wonderful colleagues at Corsair, purely for videos and shooting stuff. So what I'm going to have to do is take off the power supply shroud and undo all of our cables. So if I start with some of these. The 24 pin power supply. I got these two at the top, which are going to be really tricky. As you can see up there, I don't have a heap of overhead above those two fans. We got it though. We got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Hopefully I don't snap any pins live on air. That'd be fantastic. There we go. Alrighty. Should have put it on a rotating base or something, because I have a feeling I'm going to be spinning this thing all bloody day. But, so I'll work these ones out. And hopefully I don't have to strip everything out of the case. Good to see you, Reef. Yeah, well, what can I say about name dropping YC? It's actually, what can I say? It's too easy, way too easy. They are quite a treat to get out of that top rail. So we might leave them for a bit and see what else we can get to. I guess we'll start on, I don't even need that for these are thumb screws. Now I really like this case, based purely on the fact that you can have this center section that's hidden. I'm not sure how much of this actually runs behind it, but I'm assuming there's a fair chunk. And that's going to be the dangerous bit to redo, because there's a lot of different fan controllers and you can see it's a lot messier without that cover on. If I donate, will you sign my CSGO profile? I don't know how I'm going to sign lights, but no, I'm not even going to promise anything. I mean, I wouldn't say no to an iFixit sponsorship. I have looked at their screwdriver set a bunch of times and just haven't really had the need to splurge on it. But, you know, if I plan to do more than one of these streams ever, maybe. Let's just say I don't plan on this being a regular thing of mine. Hopefully if I stream in the future, it'll just be for IQ stuff, and I'll be able to do some lighting design live for you guys. That's the plan anyway. But I do need to get this rig rebuilt, so what better way to do it than in front of a crowd of people judging you, you know? So that's our graphics card power. Out comes the 24 pin. Now it's just these two at the top. Sorry about audio popping, because I have to be away from the desk and away from a proper microphone. It's makes it a bit tough to use a desktop one, especially moving around so much and all that. Camera I'm using YC is a Sony A7 with the Elgato Cam Link on I think it's like a 3 or 4 meter long USB 3 cable, so hopefully that holds up for long enough. I'm not sure if it will, but Yeah. Damn it, Reef, I can't read that from there. Should play some human full flat on stream with the guards. Yeah, I'm not down. I'm not against gameplay streams at all, and won't rule them out. Obviously, it's not my priority in anything, because I do have to get a lot of stuff done with lighting profiles and all of that. So this one is really really tight there. There we go. All I had to do was look at it, everybody. There's one half of it at least. Might have been the fact it was stuck on one of the fan cables. Fingers crossed. Come on. A red camera sponsorship. I don't think I'll ever be doing anything cinematic enough for a red camera sponsorship, Reef. I wish. That'd be. Imagine how good the profile promos would be then. They'd be pretty bloody top notch. But no, somehow I don't think it's quite necessary. Now, actually, I should undo the PSU first. Turn it around so you're not just staring at the back of a box as I unscrew stuff on the front of it. Now these screwdrivers aren't the best, so I hope they hold up for at least today. You know, those cheap, terrible little sets you find in places. Like, they've done the job for long enough that I haven't replaced them at all. But they're definitely starting to wear out. And one of them I actually stripped the center out, so it just spins freely in the middle, which isn't what you want in a screwdriver. Thankfully, it's only one of the little ones though. Next games that will feature in Corsair's integrations. Unfortunately, I know, but I can't talk about many of them. Or any of them, I don't think. Yeah, not without checking properly first of what has been and hasn't been announced, because I don't have that off the top of my head right now. And I'm not really willing to just accidentally break NDA just because I think it's out there. It's really hard, I will say, it's really hard to distinguish what is and isn't common knowledge now, because I have all this extra level. So I was going like, yeah, I know this, but who else is meant to? And so that's been a tricky thing that I've had to learn over the last year, because I've never dealt with that before. I've been just a solo freelancer before that, and so never really had to pay attention to any of that kind of stuff. I mean, sure, I've signed NDAs and stuff for people before, but nothing that's like company ruining. Now, what else do I need for this to come out? Ah, these two. I don't know if I was meant to take those top ones off. As I said, I haven't actually undone this case at all, so this is me learning during a live stream, which is, it's not ideal, let's put it that way. I'd much rather be an expert, but on the bright side, I won't be anything like The Verge, so just fingers crossed at the end of this I can plug it in and it all lights up again. Stop acting important. Yeah, you're right, Wasi. You're right. John, no, I haven't worked in the new 680X case. I've seen a couple of them up close and personal, and they're a really nice case. Same as the small version. I think it's the 280. And upgrading from the NZXT. Nice, yeah. Yeah, no, I really like those cases. They've been kicked around a bit online. Some people don't like them, some people do, but it's the same with everything. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan. They look wicked, especially when you get all the lighting done on them. I definitely wasn't meant to take that off. Oh well. Now that's actually a rivet. So on second thoughts, this might not come out at all, guys. Which, not the biggest blow, but it does make me look a bit of a fool. But I'm alright with that. At least this first time. If I ever do lighting stuff and I look a fool, well, then I'll be pretty sad. So let's just ignore the fact that I've undone all the screws on that is then riveted to the back. And we'll work on getting this out. So you can see it's just a small cluster in here that I have to deal with, and working out exactly what's what and where I can actually route stuff back into this center channel again, and if I can route stuff back into the center channel. I'm hopeful. Let's put it that way. And if all else fails, I'll just switch the RAM out and end the live stream and walk away from it. Cable channel under the front radiator. How do you have the cables for the water pump routed? The water pump is actually routed up. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Cables for the water pump are actually routed up this way. If I'm getting that right, I'm looking down through the fans. But yeah, so the water pump power and control fans are routed up through this way, and the USB for lighting is routed up through this way. So, no idea if you were able to see that or not, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. So that's it there. Into the top up there. Now, if you see me readjust this headset a lot, it's because I wear it all the time, and so it's kind of formed to my head, which means it doesn't sit tight on it anymore. If I pull it off and squeeze it together, you can see how much flex is in the top of it, which is nice. But hopefully that holds it on a bit better now. But yeah, wearing it 10 hours a day, 7 days a week for like a year, it's bound to like wear at things. Now, am I going to be able to actually pull this out or not? It's free, it's just the amount of cable slack I have is not going to let it go anywhere, I think. IQ profile for Dead by Daylight, not sure, can't promise anything. Have a lot on the plate at the moment in terms of updating. Custom water loops on the PC. No. Screw that. It's like a 10-hour stream at least to do something like that. I have to go to wide places. Yeah, those. This case is really good because it has this like top channel in it that like you can actually get stuff up underneath there along this whole length. So that means you can have stuff like the CPU power cables just routed around and in, and then you get stuff like the pump cables and everything go across there as well. Now, I should actually check if this is the right one before undoing it much more, but fuck it, in for a penny, in for a pound, right? Just now it is on the box listed as one that works with this kit, being the Pro PSU. That's out of camera, isn't it? Yep. Pro PSU. Right. It's not gonna. Nah. Camera's too blown out with the lights on it, and being bright yellow, it's gonna be hard to read. But yeah, so it should be. This caters to the all Type 4 Corsair PSUs, including RMX, which is this one, RMI, HX 2017, AX 2018, and AX 1600i. So covers a fair few for just being the one box, which is nice. And I chose white because obviously white case, but they do come in, I think, about 4 other colors. Yeah, I'd have to check that, but they're definitely nice cables. They're all individually braided with a nice separator. I'm going to screw something up in this live stream. I just know it. Saying something wrong. Well, please forgive me. Please. Oh, what still runs down? Nothing. Yeah, if I've got this model wrong in terms of it being supported, well then I'm really in trouble, because then I've undone all of this for absolutely nothing, and it was quite nice cable management to begin with, so undoing it will be quite a tragedy. And there's 24-bit now, which means that it's just SATA left holding it in, which is that nice bundle of mess. And then this. Oh no, one more. 2 SATAs? Must be. Which I think we have some replacements for as well, if I'm not mistaken. And there we are. So the power supply's out. I shouldn't put it on that end. I'm going to undo the 24 pin and just make sure, before I go stripping anything else out of here. Well, saying that it's a bit late, isn't it? I've pulled out 3 bloody cables. It's neat for a while, and then it goes to a mess. Yeah, the individually braided look is really nice, as long as you get them all pulled nicely and keep the separator even. It's a great look. I did the first time. I accidentally went live with a test stream, testing out audio, when I should have just done a recorded video anyway, so I could watch it back. But yeah, so no, already messed up, I think, twice today. Not a new record. We'll see if we set one. But yeah, definitely have a lot of respect for live streaming already. So wrong way. And it fits, so you know, we're off to the races on that one. So beautiful. Out of that, and then go to our CPU with our motherboard with that one. But for this, I'll be working backwards to try and get it to look as nice as possible. So it means putting this out again. Set you aside for the time. And because we do want it to look as clean as possible, I'll be able to pull it tight after I set this in, instead of starting with this, having a bunch of slack to get up to here, and then just having it loose. So hopefully by doing it this way, and I forget who I watched do it this way. Somebody did. Might have even been our own on the Corsair channel. I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm not popping the mic too much when I breathe. God, so many things to think about. Post Malone and a Ninja Turtle. I guess I was trying to come up with something clever, but I got nothing on that actually. Post Malone and a Ninja Turtle. Cowabunga, I guess. Thanks for that one, YC. I hope it's just you. I'm not sure. Yes, I do. I do remember the PC build video the Verge did, and it's troubling me that the stream's stuttering. I'll just make sure nothing's downloading in the background. Because it could also just be a case of my internet shit in the bed. So, hey Cole, good to see you. Guys, for you in the Corsair official community Discord, Cole is one of the moderators there. Doing good job, Cole. You're fired. Alright, so you can see, got a lot sticking out this side. But in terms of, where's my hand going? Up here. So you get a pretty neat look off of that. And as with everything else, hidden all the trash at the back. So just getting all those cables neatly together. I'm not entirely sure how far along to put the spreader. Maybe we'll put it back towards the grommet a bit. But outside of that, it looks alright. Yeah, land down under internet indeed, dirty. Just an absolute travesty. A water loop RGB link controller. Well, we have teased Hydro X in the past, so we'll see if anything comes of that, eh? Now, I had 2 of those in the top, didn't I? Yep. Which means I need another one. How's everybody doing today? We all good? Yeah, thanks, Cole. It's this is the photo rig, as it's known in my house at least, and is the one featured in all the videos that are coming up at some point. You know, all the content I'm churning out right now. That was sarcasm, guys. Just in case you didn't catch that. No, I do hope to be doing more stuff again soon. But these updates are killing me inside. Alright. Does it matter which end on these? It probably does, yeah. Yeah, smaller this end. Alright. Ah, the end with the spreader. That makes sense. Ton of sense. Now can I get it back up these side channels or not? That is the question. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have thought 600k internet, but you know, be a good meme. Oh, I'm missing something here. You too good for your home? Alright, there's one of them. Man, the amount of concentration I got to put into working out where this cable is with my other hand without looking. Too damn high. Too damn high. Why did I do this today? And classic me, I've actually got it upside down for how it needs to be. Can I rotate it in? Messy. But we'll get there. Concentration, guys. It's a pain in the ass. Now I try and bend this enough that it sits nicely and also goes in the socket without damaging the cables too much. So that's one of the harder things with these individually braided is when you put any hard corners in it at all, you start to get them all, I don't know if you can see that from there, but you start to get them all like spread between each other. They kind of just sit, and then when they bend, they kind of push through the back layer. So trying to keep them tight and in their rows, while also bended enough for what you need them for, can be a challenge sometimes. There we go, one of them in. pre-bin this one. Oh, sup Alex? How's things? Live strong anti-static bracelet. Eek. Eek. Yeah. Yeah, man. I've got one of those from IEM. Maybe I'll chuck that on. I'm sure that'll save any components I'm working with. But no, I am in bare feet on this wooden floor in here, so static shouldn't be much of a worry at all today. Famous last words, but trust me guys, trust me. Big trust. What do you got coming up, Alex? You working on anything in particular? Alex, for those of you who don't know, which shouldn't be many of you, is another lighting profile creator. So shout out to you, Alex. The thermal paste on the pins in that Verge video hurt my soul. That was so uncalled for. And I'd love to know who was researching for that video and who thought that was a good idea. Alright, so we got those two CPU powers in the top now. Oh, don't slide. But yeah, so kept them fairly neat. And I can always go back and pinch them and squish them around later to get them in their 4x2 again. Or I can push the separator through the hole as well and get that to sit there with them. But the separator's just up. Separator is just up behind here, which you're not going to be able to see unless I pull it down. But now it's stuck up there, so wicked. Now, the other one was for our graphics card. So, which is this one? I hope. Always second guessing yourself is fantastic when you're doing stuff like this. Yeah. Hope your college stuff's going well. Yeah. Ooh, indeed, YC. I was hanging out with some wanker. No, I had a great time at IM. Awesome time. Now, have I missed a few messages from you, Ruth? Ooh, that's what I'm doing, Reef. I'm going from the board out. If you haven't noticed already. Okay, so in terms of dollar dues, I am not sure, actually. I'm not sure on the MSRP for this. So I ordered one through work before they were publicly available, and it's been sitting here on my desk ever since, in waiting for me doing something like this. So, which is annoying, but sort of necessary. Now, there's enough cables right through it already. Hopefully I haven't pushed that grommet out. Man, the the little 2-pin here is all twisted, so it's not sitting very nicely at all, which is rather annoying. Come on. Because for some reason it wants to like sit the wrong way around. At least I hope it's the wrong way around, otherwise these cables are going to be really annoying. So that's definitely the right way for the 2. Which means it's definitely the right way for these as well. There we go. Alright. Make sure everything's neat on that separator. I'd like to pull it straight down and around. If you'll let me, cables, come on. I guess I could also go straight up into this grommet as well, which isn't a horrible idea. That's tight in there anyway. But I don't hate the look of it coming straight down this way. Especially if I push that separator right down. Not too far. The easiest thing I'm doing today is replacing the RAM. This is trying to get all this out of the road first. Because man, that RAM is so pretty. And end game, hopefully I can plug in the system and have it all light up at the end. That'd be nice. Provided we didn't have anything go majorly wrong. Alright, so with that, looks pretty reasonable. Be nicer if I had white everything else, like the all-in-one and the motherboard and stuff, but in terms of just this so far, I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. Now, does this come with SATA? Oops. No, that's another 2 PCIEs. That's a double SATA, but I'm going to need more than that. Because I think there's 4 running into the back. There's a Molex. That's a 4 SATA. Oh, so is that. I'm stupid. Alright, so yeah, you can see, aside from what we've already got in, which is the 24 pin, the 2 10 pin CPUs, and the PCIe, then you've got 2 sets of the Molex, 2 sets of the SATA, more Type 4s, more of the that same kind of 10 pin for like PCIe, for if you're running a dozen graphics cards or something, I guess. Yeah, these are all PCIe. Okay. Now, tearing out all of this SATA might be the bane of this stream and my existence, because it's all pretty well established in here. As you can see, it all kind of runs up this center. It's all nicely cable tied together. and into this clump at the bottom, where we have a bunch of connectors free. So we will be using both of those solders, and I put them back in the box, didn't I? Got no bloody idea what's going on today, apparently. RAM for days indeed. That's 2 sets of 32 gig dominated platinum RGB sitting there. I don't know about this one, YC. We might be able to put together a build for you at some point. I hope so. Molex to SATA, or 10-pin to SATA power. So these are the 6-pin to SATA power. The Molex in here are the same, 6-pin to Molex. There's no Molex to SATA or SATA to Molex in there, because frankly you shouldn't really be using Molex for anything other than specialty cases at this point, like internal USB cards and stuff like that still might require them. I'm gonna have to get some pliers real quick and cut these. I'll leave the camera up because screw it, why not? Alright, I found the bloody things. Bloody not in the drawer I left them in. But I'm going to snip all these without cutting anything important. Please no whammies. Not that one though. That one's fine. These little Velcro ties are bloody great, by the way. I just dropped that. Where'd it go? You know what? I'm sure it'll turn up somewhere. Oh well. Look, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. God damn it, Lewis, pull the bloody cable ties out before you let them go. There we go. One of the three. Now I'm not going to undo these until I'm ready to switch it over. So I can keep them all relatively in the same spot they were. Now I'm switching these over, but you don't have to, of course, because they're in the back of a case. So if you're using something like the new 680X, you're obviously not going to need anything like this. And there is a smaller PSU cable kit that comes with just the ones I've installed already, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's something similar to that, where it's either just the 24-pin, the CPU power, and the PCIe. But I know you can also get the cables individually as well to add on to that. How old's that carbide though? Because they're most likely outdated by now. Because not many things use the Molex anymore. Because they're not quite as safe, I think. is the history beyond them. Like, not as much of a secure connection that's going to last a long time. I hope this isn't too boring, guys. I know it's pretty boring, but I hope it's not too boring. And hopefully we'll do something a bit more fun next time with lighting and all that other good stuff. Alright, time to switch these out. How'd I get that wrong twice? It's not USB. Ah, it's just tight. Tweet! I probably also could have just left these, but I figured because I have the extra stuff here, it'd just be a waste not to. Oh, the wrong end. Be a waste not to use it, you know? Just to have this whole kit and to only use 3 cables out of it would be a huge waste. So that's one of them done. And I think this second one is only used on this hard drive. It is, because the other storage in this is a PCIe storage, so it doesn't need any SATA, of course. Now the other thing I am going to potentially add is another Lighting Node Pro to this. But I'll have to check if we have the USB headers for it. And I think we do, so we might be doing that as well. Because I have one over there for this case, so purely because at some point I'd like to run external lighting from this. So I'm going to have it mounted somewhere in the back, probably on this plate, with a cable that sticks out beneath where the glass has a gap. So I can then plug a cable into that and run lighting maybe across the back of this desk, because this is the studio desk that I do a lot of filming on. Normally I'm on that side and I film this way, hence the black background. But yeah, so we'll see how we're going for time. I don't know how long I've been going for already, but that's just clocked in at an hour now, so thanks for sticking around if you're still here, guys. It means a lot that you're supporting me doing weird shit like this. And actually, what other type of content would you like to see? I guess is my other question. Do you want to see gameplay? Do you want to see, I guess, behind the scenes for the April Fool's video that we did for Corsair, or anything like that? Which, if you haven't seen, I did a lot of the editing on that, or most of the editing on it. So now we have a free SATA power, and we can actually route in one of the Lighting Node Pros. So I'll just grab one of those. Alrighty, so Lighting Node Pro as it comes with a kit, a set of 4 strips as well, which is handy. I won't be putting them in the case because they already have strips through it. So it comes like this. If I get my finger in there. So this is our 4 lighting strips, and here's the actual Lighting Node Pro itself. So it's a small little thing. We have booklets and a couple of extra cables, so we'll need this one, as well as, we shouldn't need that one, this one though. So we'll use this as our extension, and we'll leave it hanging out the back of the case so we can plug in external. Put it all back together. Alrighty, so this is the LED extension cable. You're not going to be able to see that very well at all, if at all. So it's just got some small 3 pins on there, and they go in the front of this. Comes with 2 little 3M adhesive strips, so you can stick it anywhere you need to. And then it's just got 2 channels on the front, so you can plug that in. Which is what we'll be doing, running it out of channel 1 like that. And then we'll have this cable hanging out the back of the case. And I think that's actually 2 cables, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. Yep, I was right. So, we'll just have that one hanging out the back of the case, and then we'll be able to plug that in where we need to. So half of this length will be getting down to the bottom there, and then the rest of it will be just sticking out, maybe like so. And then if I have strips that are stuck to the bottom of this desk, because the LED strips, Corsair LED strips are magnetic and also have adhesive on the back of them, if you need that at all. Porn is not an option for other content at the moment, YC. Except maybe privately. No. Now I gotta get close to read what Reese written. Oh, thanks for the whole kit. Price is $79.99 apparently. If that's the kit you're talking about, I hope so. Hope I haven't screwed that up already. And the Corsair Carbide Series Black 400R. Well, that's the case you were talking about earlier. Yep. Nice. Now, for the Lighting Node Pro, I should have done this after I did all my other cable management, but we're going to have to manage cables anyway. So, let's keep going around so I can actually get to it. So for this, because we need the SATA power, we'll probably mount at the back, of course. This is why I turn around for the USB. Now I swear I had a header in here. And I do, but seeing it from this angle is the pain. Now don't slide when I pull you back, please. Actually getting it past the other cables is the hardest bit. There's already a couple of USBs running along that bottom edge. Not a heap of space to play around with. But I can pull them back a little bit. Nope. Alright, so that's in. Make sure I don't crush any of our cables. Like I said, I needed this on a spinning base today. Would have made things a lot easier. Okay, so we have our USB through now, and that plugs directly into the socket on this. So now these adhesive strips are actually really strong. From what I've seen, there's a video where Linus is redoing the lighting in one of these cases, or something similar, maybe the 280X actually, and had trouble getting them off. So make sure you know where you're placing them beforehand. Make sure you place them right. Hopefully I do it right today in front of a live audience. How you guys finding the music? Not too loud? Not too weird? All of this is from NCIS music, by the way. NCS, sorry, no copyright sounds on YouTube. Been using their music for a long time in my own videos, and figured I'd use a bit of that stuff today. Right, that'll do it, I reckon. It means I've lost the use of that hard drive slot, but I've got cable routing going through it at the moment anyway, and don't have any plans of putting a solid state in there anytime soon. And if I do, I can always pull it off with pliers or something, I don't know. I'm going to go underneath that for now because I don't know where that cable's going to go yet. And come down along this, same kind of story, and down into these. This side that's running the hard drive as well. There, so that one's connected. And now with that cable, we should be able to run it down along there somewhere. Actually, there is that port at the back. Maybe I'll be able to just go out through that. That is perfect. Mint. I didn't realize there was that hole there, so. Which I'm not entirely sure what it's actually for. But I mean, I'll take it. Because that's going to be handy. Being that close to it as well. Routed through the other stuff that's there as well. Now this up here you might have noticed, that's from the old SP fans, and I think for a time was actually pre-built on these cases. So that's why that's there. That's not used for anything at the moment. It's not connected to anything. So don't be alarmed if you don't have one of those, because it doesn't do anything on this build at least. But that's for the old SP and HD fans. You could use it to manually change what your lighting was without having any software enabled at all. Which, handy for some people. Useless for people like myself, but you know, to each their own. I still have no idea where those other two bits of cable tie went after I cut them. Okay, now, working out what to do with all of this is my next step. Because I somehow, or I would like to at least, get this cable tray back on. It goes bottom down this way, is that right? That way. Maybe? Yeah. Man, that's going to be tough. So that's already super tight on that. Yikes. Alright. Time to actually get into the nitty-gritty of cable management, I guess. Which I have actual cable ties over here. I was sure I had some smaller ones there somewhere as well, but I'm not entirely sure I've put those. So these are just like your standard size. What does it say? They are 150 mil, which is 150 by 3.6 mil, which is huge for what we're doing here. Don't need advertising for them. If we need any other Velcros, I've got the Linus Tech Tips set, which I quite like. They're great for like laptop cables and stuff like that when I'm traveling. I will just quickly go see if I have any others in the cupboard. Okay, so I do, but they're even bigger, so it's pointless grabbing those. Now, if I missed anything in the chat, glad to hear the voice is soothing. Ah, all good, YC, all good. Hope work's going well. This is a first person. I got nothing. I was trying to come up with something clever for S, but sorry, I failed. I failed miserably. And apparently I'm getting more and more bogan. Definitely not 8 inches, Reef. Just for you and your American ways, I'll measure them out. So you have that knowledge. I think I have an inch rule here somewhere. I think you're out of luck. Where's my inch rule gone? Here it is. 5.5, just under 6. Reef, 6 inches. Nearly fell over. Live stream fails, here I come. Now these, I'm gonna have to route sideways and get them packed underneath this little ledge here because they are quite thick and I don't want the glass bowing out at all because it's really not good for it. So I can kind of get them pressed up like that, get them curved around that bend there. That'd work out alright. Hopefully that's not damaging anything else behind it. Doesn't appear to be. Let's get the this thick boy back in there. So, power supply wise, I'm making a bloody mess here. I'll just clean this up quickly. You know what? I'll clean it later. Just get them out of here. Everything I don't need. Alright. Hopefully I haven't knocked any screws off in the process. I don't think we have, looking at it. Alrighty. I was wondering where the fourth one of that went. Alright, cool. Just get a few of these out and we'll move it back. Misjudging inches, yeah. I couldn't work out what that word was without moving forward, but yeah. Yeah, I guess you are. Honestly, I don't know why you still use it, to be honest, Reef. Inches are like such an inaccurate measurement. And by that, I mean, there's so much range in terms of like, there's an inch, but there's a half an inch, and you're dealing with fractions too damn much. Like, why do you need fractions that much? Decimal place is way better than fractions. Way faster to calculate as well. At least for me. I don't know. I'd assume, like most people, but don't want to assume too much. Okay. 2 CPU power, at 2 motherboard power, 24 pin, and PCIe. One cable's. No, they're both. motherboard, and then PCIe. I'll route you nicely later. For now, plug you in. Alright. That's going to be the better way. It's not going to matter a whole heap because we're going to end up with a heap of loose cable in behind this thing anyway. But for now, these will work out alright. So that's CPU 1. Key those together. Which way do I go around then? That's silly. Don't go around that way. Go above the cables you're above. These couple of type 4s. I'm hugely fussed on the order of these because they're going to be under everything else anyway. And then that's everything except for our PCIe, which we'll do when we get closer. So if everything comes around like that, we want this right there. So then we have all our cables. So we've actually done a fair bit today in this hour and 20 minutes. Probably could have been faster, but not a race. I'd rather get it done right. Much rather get it right. He says as he jams a power supply into a case. Now what's holding you back? Is it just the sheer bulk of this cable? So I hope not. Might be. Sorry if I keep scraping the mic on my shoulder when I'm bending over like this. It's really hard not to. Okay, so we're halfway through, at least. That's going to be pretty nightmarish to get all of that into that enclosed space. But I'm up for a challenge, I guess. Now, I gotta put this bloody shroud back together before I do any more, so I don't push it out and not be able to get it back together again. Excuse me for one second. If you guys are Game of Thrones watchers, what did you think of the latest episode? Were you as disappointed as everybody else on the internet with it? Obviously try not to spoil it too much if you're going to write a comment. Because I don't want to ruin it for people. I just want to know what people think. Now, like I said, what I'm doing here at the moment isn't super important, but it's because I didn't realize the power supply shroud doesn't come off. I unscrewed it earlier, so I'm just putting this back up now. Alright, there we go. Alright, so our shroud's back in place. And properly secure. All our cables are looking pretty nice on this side. And I'll flip around and show you in a second. I'm just teasing you for no reason. So, that's where we're at currently. Next thing I need to do is actually screw in this power supply again, get it into place, so then I can properly pull cables around and not worry about moving it around too much. Maybe I'll just put in a couple though, in case I do need to remove it again for any reason. Because of the thickness of the extra thickness of the braid, it certainly does add a lot of bulk right behind that power supply, but I think it looks worth it. And hey, I mean, we've already done better than the Verge today. I mean, it's a low bar to beat, but small victories, you know. Alright, with a couple of screws in that power supply, let's flip this back around and try and make some headway on this cable management nonsense. What did I drop? Oh, that for that. Now, I am going to take my jacket off quickly because it is pretty bloody hot at the moment. Alright, that's a bit better. Cool. Alright, so cable management time. The fun part. Sarcasm, obviously. Man, I'm really worried about that bunch. I should have maybe pushed it in the other way and looped it around on itself, so it kind of had this weird buckle and got rid of most of the length, because otherwise I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be able to do with that massive chunk of cabling. All this up the very top is okay. I don't really like that knotted cluster, but that'll be hidden behind the cover, provided we can get it back on. Can't remember which way around this goes, of course. So that's there. I'm not entirely sure where we're going in the top of that. It might just be too big for us to get everything in there. In which case, we'll either leave it off and just get things as neat and tidy along here as possible, or we'll use it to hide all this other black cable behind it and leave the white ones running alongside it, which might still look okay. Yeah, I'm really not happy with this massive knot of cables at the bottom. So much room do I have behind that? Not a heap. So that might be the undoing of this, in terms of, you can see how little space I have to play with in there for how much of a cable mess there is. I've got that there, and I basically got like that much room. What a horrible way to measure things. Like I said before, I want these to kind of go up and around this edge as flatly as possible if I can. pull those down and push these up underneath that, maybe. Good cable management really is an art form, and it's not one I'd say I've mastered yet. I'm okay at it. Having to do it only a few times ever is not exactly great practice to then be on a live stream. But hey, living dangerously and all that. The shirt. Merch, I've thought about a bunch actually. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I'm not sure what to do with it because I don't feel big enough to launch a heap, and it's also, I don't know, it's hard to find a company that you like and want to actually use, you know? Worry about printing quality, and there's one of the broken ones. Yeah, that's like the big thing for me is like I want to get, if I do it, I want to do it right, and to do it right, you either have to invest like a heap of capital, or you have to like shop around and find the best one. And just lately, I haven't got the capital to launch my own stuff, but I also haven't had the time to shop around and do it either. So I don't know. We'll see. It's on my possible list of things to do. So I definitely like merch because I did this shirt back when I was freelancing, and I'd wear this to events and stuff occasionally. So it's also got the logo on the back, at least the old one. I'm thinking of phasing it into something new again. I'm not sure. Mouse pads, maybe. Although I don't know if I'd be able to beat actually using Corsair mouse pads, because that's what I use myself. So like the printed mouse pads are always like terrible quality, and I'd feel bad about doing that. Mugs, sure. I'm not a coffee drinker myself, but I can appreciate people who are. Maybe like pens or round stickers or something. I don't know. Just spitballing ideas. If I can keep these kind of separate, maybe. Will we laughing? I do have a bit of room to like push it down this way as well, if I need to. But I'll make sure I have enough length to actually get this along. Okay, now I've got both of those separators inside that section, so it should hold them both reasonably neat. At least there is a cable poking through from the back and on the right one. But, you know, we'll work that out later. We can always fiddle with that. Now, put a bit more length up maybe. So a bit to play with later on. That's all pretty neat though. And probably isn't going to get a heap better regardless of what else I do up there. So, cable tie one in. There we go. That looks alright. Pretty hard to see on camera, I guess. Because you guys are... Camera's about 2.5 meters away from me, for reference. It is a Sony A7 with a 25 to 70mm lens, for those interested. I know I said that earlier. Not sure if I said the lens or not, but... down behind the SATA cables, I think. Even though they do look a bit better than them. Trying to flatten out these SATA cables, because they come to this point, right? So I'm trying to like flatten them down on one side at least. So they at least take up the least amount of room possible. This cluster at the top I'm really not that thrilled about. If I can push that up a bit further maybe. Get some more out of it. It's because it's the oh, it's the extra fan powers. That's what's in there. That's... Do they actually go anywhere? Two of them do. What are these? Please don't tell me that's just routed there and back. Oh no, it's the fans for the pump, which makes sense. So the all the pumps have fan headers for them, so you can split it off from that. I say all the pumps, but Platinums do at least, I know that much. This isn't a Platinum in here, I don't think. Maybe we'll have to switch that out as well at some point, just so it's got the latest and greatest from Corsair. That's sticking out about an inch from the back of the case, which is not ideal currently. This top's fine, but we're going to put a glass panel that goes along that. It's not a steel one that comes out at all, so this is going to be pretty tricky. But hey, up to the challenge. Move it back so you can see what I'm doing again. At least a little bit. It's hard to work on an angle, but I will make the sacrifice for you. How much of this can we just push in there? Actually quite a lot. Okay. Without busting any of the connectors off. Not horrible, but if I just do it like that, it's going to put a heap of pressure on the glass. And I'm not thrilled about it. That's the end of this SATA cable. Okay, so instead what I'm going to do with this one is is okay. I was going to say I'm going to use the end of it because I thought it was the very, like this end one in that hard drive socket, but it wasn't. But that way that's directed straight there, hopefully. Hopefully it's not messed with by the rest of the stuff here. Maybe I should have put some cable ties along each of these cables themselves. Don't curl up. Getting kinks in these like single braided cables is like not ideal because they're quite hard to work out once it's, you can see those down there if you can. Oh shit, alright, thank you. Thank you for that, Reef. I wondered when that was going to happen. It's alright, I do have a backup battery. I should have been watching that more. I do have a uninterruptible power supply coming as well. But it was not here yet. And I figured I could just get away with this. Alright, there we go. Put this other battery back on charge. In case it happens again. So, that's pretty good though. We got an hour 30 out of a battery. Yeah, thanks for that, Reef. How long was it like that for? Yeah. Alrighty. Nothing much lost there, really. I was just messing around with cables the whole time anyway. So, you didn't really miss anything. Just this little cluster down here that I'm trying to kind of get sorted into this back corner maybe. So if I can pull everything into there, then at least that's one less cable to deal with in there. Oh, okay, it's one of those pins. Alright, that's not too bad. Kind of okay with that, like rolling back on itself there. And if I have room on the inside, I will be able to just like pull it out and pile it in there. But just for now, getting that one out of the road at least. It's 1 out of 6 I put in. Yeah, so at the moment, Reef, I'm using my computer here on this side, and I've got Streamlabs open. And I'm using a Stream Deck here just to help me if I need it. Yeah, so I can see the feed that's coming through the camera on 2 different screens. I just hadn't looked at it in a while because I was so focused on this. If I was building this way around and looking there, I would have noticed it immediately, but oh well. Oh well. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. And hopefully it wasn't for too long. I'll have to check on the VOD later how long that break went for. But it feels weird doing this cable management at an angle. Normally I've got it either like standing in front of me or I'm sitting down in front of it. But like standing and twisted at an angle is it's different, that's for sure. Wouldn't recommend. Let's put it that way. See how much of this cable I can poke back underneath itself. You know what, that's actually not done too bad of a job. I'm definitely not going to be able to get that bloody cover over again though. That's gone. There's no way. Maybe over like one set of these, like look how thick this stuff is, so like that alone half fills the channel. If I can just get it all like tied down nicely, I'll be pretty happy with it. It is the back of a case. I know it's a visible back of the case, but it's still the back of a case. What time is it in the US for you at the moment, Reef? And the others of you watching, if you feel like chatting. Trying to find times that work best for everyone and that aren't stupidly late for me, because obviously I'm going to be pretty useless at live streaming past 3 AM, as we've seen with some of the Discord voice chats. Speaking of, if you haven't joined the Discord channel, should be a link in the description, or there's one on my website as well. On the website you can find all my lighting profiles as well, if you're interested in using those. Download the 2018 end of year update pack. That should have everything as up to date as anything else at the moment. I am working on getting another update done, and that's why I need the RAM in. So that's what the RAM's for, is to get all that in and updated. Because I don't normally design on this one. I design on that one over there, which is a white C70 with a i7 700K and a 1070 in it. This has got an i9 and a 1080 in it. So just because I know people are going to be interested in that kind of stuff. Yes, YCI, I'm wearing my own shirt. I was saying earlier, I got these made up when I was doing freelancing stuff. I've got one grey one and one white one, and they've got a name on the back as well. I wore it around PAX, not last year, but the year before as well. So they're pretty handy for events because they've got my website on the back of them. Name, not website. Brain not functioning properly today, apparently. But what else is new, really? So we're starting to get these top ones at least into a decent spot, and if I can push it more past the other clump of cable here, we'll be even better off. And then it's just going to be a matter of managing the 24 pin, which is going to be the bane, I think, of all existence, just because of how many individually braided cables there are. What they need to do is do it individually braided into a single core like the other ones. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily work for the back of this case because it is see-through, but it would at least give you that individually braided look into a single neater cable at the back. Especially if it was the same color, I think that would look pretty good, or could look pretty good. So there you go. Power supply manufacturers around the world, including my own employer. Here's a free idea for you. Please pay royalties. Yeah, I know you're down for the later stuff, Riff. I'm not sure what time. I'm not sure what the time those voice chats end up being for you. I'm pretty sure they're later in your evening. No, they're early morning for you if I do 3 AM. But yeah, it's having a well, without sounding like too much of a tosser, having a global audience makes things difficult because constantly trying to like make sure everybody can be involved that wants to be is it's tricky, man. Real tricky. Be much easier if folks were just from one place, one time zone. But that's not how I roll. Trying to get these SATA cables nice and flat. I don't know if it's going to be achievable or not. I have cut down a lot of the bulk out of that so far, at least. You can see there's not a heap of it sticking out now. And we might actually be able to get it back to a point where we can put the glass panel back on that side. Fingers crossed. Now, I know I said this towards the start of the stream, but I'll say it again. I've wanted to live stream for quite a long time, but haven't had the internet to do it. So I only recently got Australia's National Broadband Network, which allowed me to. So I'm streaming on streaming on a 40 down and 20 up connection. So if the quality's terrible, I apologize. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's reasonable. I'm pretty sure I'm streaming at 1080, but I'm not entirely sure. I should have checked that. Too late now. Already been at it for hour 50. If you've got any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the chat as well. I'll answer them. I'll do a proper AMA that's like listed for questions everywhere as well when I hit 10k subs, which isn't too far away. I think it's only about a 150 left or so, because we're at 9,800 and something, which is pretty damn exciting. We've been working on that for long enough. I have no idea what to do with this cluster of weird SATAs at the bottom. There's also this USB running through, but that's not a huge hassle. But the because I can't just wrap everything up and keep it in a chunk, I have to kind of like spread it out. And as much as I'd love to just tie it in a bowl and throw it somewhere, it has to be in here somewhere. Hopefully without damaging anything else in the process. Because if I break a pin, I'm gonna be real sad. Haven't done it before, and do not want to do it again. Or ever, rather. Brain shut down halfway through that sentence. Question, can I stay at your house when I visit? You know what, Wisey, for you? Sure. Not a heap of room here at the house. This room used to be the lounge room, but yeah, you can stay. I'm kind of sad with how this is going, actually. I thought it'd be a lot neater in the back, but just the sheer like volume of cable, it's like that, and like getting that into a slot it's so hard. And I would lay this down and work on it from above, but I'm a bit worried about doing it, to be honest. You know what, let's try it. Not the way you need to put a computer, that's for sure, but just for a small amount of time, we'll see if this helps. Because now I can actually see everything I'm doing, instead of being like wrapped around it sideways. So I'm going to try and get this done as quickly as possible, and then move on to the RAM, and then we're done. But I might also set up the lighting strips on this edge, because they're just adhesives, and I'll just stick them to the bottom of this desk, and then turn everything on, hopefully. Provided this is all connected properly still on the inside. It's very hard to see now because of the sheer like volume of cables that I've just kind of like jammed in behind it all. I really wish it was a full length PSU shroud on this, but I'll take what I can get. Atmos recording audio. What was that for, Reef? Oh, the recording monitors. Yes, yes. And I did think about setting up my second monitor for the camera, but because I've got the two screens over there already, I didn't worry about it for this time. Because I could have run the camera off of, I have a Elgato HD60S as well. Because I did, like I said, I planned to stream for a long time, so I like bought everything in preparation and then realized my internet was way too terrible to do anything with it. And also then, like, mobile data's too expensive, and yeah, a litany of other problems. I'm impressed that it's holding up today. Hopefully the video isn't as stuttery as I'm looking at. Yeah, I really hope not, but if it is, I'll just unlist it, leave it up for people who want to see it. Because I'd like to keep a fair bit of quality up on the channel. I don't like dropping quality for too much at all. You can use one of these Velcro straps to just try and grab all of this together so the SATA cable stays up top here as well. And the tighter I can bundle this, maybe the better off we'll be. As if I run those sideways down the line there. Seconds. No, never mind. Never mind. I thought I had another setting in the Stream Deck to switch out of the camera, but not for the one I wanted. I've wanted to do this live stream in particular for about a week now, and just haven't been able to get everything set up in time properly to meet the kind of midday starting time I wanted to. I was hoping to go even earlier, but then I was testing a bunch and making sure all the audio was working today. So that's something I was going to be really annoyed with if I started up the stream and nobody could hear me. Definitely not going to be able to get that cable shroud on again, because you can see like it might have worked for what we had on there before doing all of this, but there's just too much here. There's way too much here. Doesn't even fit over half of it. Which, unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I'd much rather have the nicer white cables in front, pick up a bit of the lights a bit more. If this song sounds familiar, it's because it's the one I used for the Spectrum video. Really like that song for that video. My music selection process takes forever, because I keep a hidden playlist of like copyright free and like videos that aren't going to get me claimed or anything, and then I basically have to go through that every time I want to pick out some music, because I have a very certain feel in my head, or if I'm looking for inspiration, can really take some time to get it right. thanks to those of you who've stuck around this whole time. I know it hasn't been the most exciting stream. I promise we'll do something a bit more fun next time. But hopefully it hasn't been too bad. And that's looking pretty good. Like I said, I'm a bit sad that the shroud's not going to go back on it. But in terms of just getting all that cable down to the bottom and taking like so much of the bulk out of it, it's not too bad. Yeah, small little things like these. I wish these cable ties were smaller. I'm out of the really tiny ones. Used them on too many other things. But that'll do the job for now. Get some straight angles in there. That doesn't have a point to cable tie it to it all on that side, unfortunately, but that's alright. That can just be loose there and I can kind of poke it back through if I need to. Like move the PC or anything, I don't want to get it caught on anything. In terms of this, I could go underneath these, but these are really tight, so I won't. Just kind of getting that USB sitting nicely. Put some harder curves in there, and hopefully it just sits nicely and doesn't want to move around too much. I think it'll be fine, poked underneath that, personally. Get this all flattened out as much as possible before I try putting that side panel on. But I think we're just about there, guys. I think that's done it. Where did I route that to? Oh, I don't know where that cable goes to. I think it's all the way down here, but it's underneath everything now, so it can kind of run on top of that. I don't mind too much. Not a horrible job. Stand this back up. Well, actually, I put the side panel on when it's laying down. That might be even easier. Now, classic me, I've covered the damn thing in. Oh, it does have a lot of room. So if I hold it tight to these, you can see how much flex it has to have in it to go back down. It's a good centimetre at least of bulge that it'd be holding in, which isn't the worst, but I wish it was less. I'm going to try and get it less. And I will need to clean that before I put it back on anyway. Fingerprints from me all over it. Let's see if we can just take some of the get these done as tight as possible. Just see if I can get the it's cut out its breathing room, you know. Hopefully it takes over a bit of the bulk of it as well. Hope I won't do that corner one. should have just gone along these from the start with these cable ties and just pulled them all tighter. That might be the saving grace of this thing. Do it with this big set of 24 again, down here somewhere. Maybe I'll do a couple of them. I do listen to podcasts, Wasi. Misfits, Joe Rogan being the main one, and a few others. Depends how I'm feeling. Like if I'll find a podcast or find a topic that interests me and I'll sit and listen to it. That's the main thing. It's like there's a few people I'll go back to, but most of the time if it's like a long form video that somebody's done on a particular topic or something like that, I'll listen/watch them like you would a podcast. Yeah, in terms of recurring podcasts I frequently check up on, it's mainly just Joe Rogan and Misfits these days. I used to listen to the co-optional all the time, but I've dropped off of that one a little bit recently. Not for any particular reason, just haven't gone back to it. Outside of that, the other long form content I consume the most has got to be D&D, Critical Role especially. Shout out to any critters out there. Alright, so now it's starting to look a bit tighter, but hopefully bundling it like that hasn't caused more bulge from it instead of being a flat to around, but we'll see. Trial and error. With a bundle like that though, I was able to push that one further in, so that's good. Okay, short story long. Okay. Yeah, it's still going. Having trouble getting all of this flat enough to get the panel back on, because it is tempered glass and I don't want to have it bending much at all, because it's dangerous, to say the least. Glass doesn't like bending. Even when it does, I'm not inclined to let it. Now the big problem I have with these is these like connectors in it, they take up a heap of space. Now I don't know if I have Q open right now, but I'll show you. I am actually prepared to... Yeah, I do. So I'll show you that quickly, because I am actually prepared to the scene, is it? No, it doesn't like it today. Alright, well, it's not recognized the program. Go back to the camera for now. Another time, perhaps. Because I was going to show you that I do indeed have stuff set up to stream the lighting creation process. So I have a camera like this, have the webcam, which at the moment is and then I'll be able to do live profile creation and editing and stuff like that as well. So do have some plans. Not sure how much of it we'll actually get to do based on like what kind of lighting profiles I'm doing. Obviously if I'm doing integrations that are under NDA at the time, I'm not going to be able to live stream any of that. But in terms of other lighting profile creation stuff, yeah, sure. I'd love to do that kind of stuff. So is it really that jumpy? Is it just like a terrible bit rate that I'm getting out of it, or? This has pretty much turned into the Lewis Gershwin's monologue podcast, sadly. I really was hoping to get the bulk of these cables in maybe half an hour ago or so, but it just hasn't gone. That's a live show for you. You know what though, first live stream, can't complain, that's for sure. You know what, I reckon that'll do it. Let's grab a cloth, so I'll wipe down the glass. Now I'm not sure which side is which. I don't think it matters. Maybe it doesn't matter. Oh, that's some real bulk in the middle. You know what, we'll work with that. Because I need it done, so I might come back and fix it at a later date, but we'll see. So keep your fingers crossed, everybody, that this doesn't break on me at some point. But I have been able to reduce that gap down a fair bit, so I'm happy with that at least. It will be pushing on the glass, but certainly not as bad as it was. I just hope instead of bowing the glass, it flattens the cables. but time will tell. Alrighty, now we can stand it up again. Put those power supply screws back in before I forget about those. Alrighty, so that's that done. Any other screws I've got now are so the thumb screws from that and the other side panels. So it's time to unbox this RAM and switch it over. So I think I have already cut these through. Yep. Let's see what a new set of Dominator Platinums looks like. Be careful with them, but foam tray. So these are the Dominator Platinum RGBs with the new Capillix LEDs in them. Really pretty, really pretty. They look incredible in person. Hopefully they'll show up alright on camera today as well, once I get it all plugged in. Provided I set up all the power supply again properly. And that build looks alright from the front. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Alright. So, unbox all of this. Now, not to flex on people too hard here, but I do have a RAM tray to keep these others in. So I'll just grab that. So that's the old Vengeance RAM in there, non-pro, that I had in there before these. Now these only go from one side if I remember correctly. They only go from the top. I'm gonna have to space them out, aren't I? Alright, there we go. So, same memory mount. This is also running 64 gigs and will again once I switch it over to these new ones. Now, the main difference between the Vengeance Pros and the Vengeance is Vengeance Pros have a software enabled mode that allows you way more like control over your lighting. They look the same. The reason why they look different here is because the non-pros also come with a shroud, which you can pull off, but they are pretty similar underneath. Obviously the pros don't have this center bit, but aside from that, they're pretty much, the same. Now these two here are going to be the hardest for me to remove because there are those pump cables up and to the side of them, so that puts a little bit of pressure on the side of them. That means like slotting them in is going to be, I'm going to have to be careful slotting them in rather. Alright, so that's all of them out. Put that tray away for a rainy day. Still got room for when these go bad. Yeah, yeah, weird flex. Weird flex. I don't get to flex much, YC, so, you know, I'll take what I can get. They have been going for 217. We're dropping frames in the encoding now as well. That's not good. But we're nearly done here, guys. So bear with me for a little while longer. Alright, get these first four in. So, I'll see if the autofocus is working or not. Oh, lighting's gonna be an issue. Give me a light. There we are. So you can see the 12 LEDs in the top. There's 2 behind the dominator. And yeah, they're really pretty when they're on. Really pretty. Now I'm just gonna make sure I get them in the right way. Yep. Now, there's one. Normally you'd meant to do 2 and 4 first, but I'm just going to do an order because it's going to be way easier. Get my hand alongside of them. Trying my best to not hit the mic, guys, I'm sorry. Oh, man. Doing slots wrapped around a corner? Not the easiest thing in the world. Oh, come on. I had such a trouble doing this last time as well with the other ones I just took out. Because it's, you gotta like jack it in and then click it up, and it doesn't necessarily want to go down unless you push that entire front section in, but then you also have to be careful of the pins, that you don't just like scrape them around. Because I'm not like Linus, I don't just like throwing stuff around. Especially not if I can help it. I'm actually going to set this aside and lay this one down. Just for a little bit. Not super thrilled about letting it rest on those screws on the desk, but it's only for a moment. Straight away. That's all you need. Land it down. That didn't sound fantastic. I'll actually redo that one. I will actually. That's a bit nicer. Alright. Last one. Up against the cooling pump. And the cables that try to run underneath the damn thing. Alright, we're in. Okay. See if I neaten up some of those cables before I stand it back up. And I might actually put the that front panel on it while it's laying down, like that again. It's made it a bit easier last time to get all the screws on. Alrighty, we're nearly done, guys. Line up all our holes. Now, I don't have the monitor handy, but I will be standing this up and plugging it in. Let's see how we go with everything. And then that'll be it for today, I think. Because you've been listening to me waffle on for far long enough, probably. Easy. Alrighty, there we go. We got our little cable back here still for the Lighting Node Pro stuff when we do that. Alrighty. Let's get this nice front and center. let's switch to, no, you know what, I'll just leave it. And I just need the power cable from it. Which of course I left plugged in the other desk. Uno momento. Alrighty, and we're back. Let's see if magic or sparks happens. We got it, guys. We bloody well did it. It took me too damn long, but we did it. Let's get a fat close-up on that. Now, I'm sorry about the stream skipping a bit. So it's going to look like it's flashing random colors. It is nicely fading at the moment. I'm just going to take you off the tripod. Hopefully this isn't too jarring. I'll try to hold it as still as possible, but now I can really punch in. Oh, it's just booted into loading up one of the profiles it had on it. And I have no keyboard or anything to change it. So I think that is that's where we're going to leave it for today, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching. And yeah, I'm so sorry about the quality. That's something I gotta work on. But we did it. So thank you once again, hanging around. And hopefully the next live stream is a bit better than that one. Thanks, guys.